Donald, the prosecutor, giving the closing argument in the Michigan courtroom in the case against Jennifer Crumbley, trying to convince this jury that this mom should be responsible for the deaths caused by her son. Let's go back for more of the closing.
What she did, what she didn't do, and you can't hide from that. She tried. There's a lot of deleted messages, which are not coincidental. I don't think any of you believe that, but I'm going to tell you why they're not coincidental. He also talked to us about and showed you the messages between Jennifer Crumbley and her son. The messages between her son and his only friend. He introduced the voicemail that Jennifer Crumbley received the night before the shooting about looking up bullets. True. Pam Fine didn't tell her to call back. That's true. And she didn't call back because she didn't ask for a call back. We all know what she did do with that information. What she did do with that information is she texted her son, searching bullets. And we all know the phrases that we'll never forget. Did you show him your gun? This is the day before the shooting. Did you show him your gun? And the shooter responds, no, my God. LOL, I'm not mad. You just have to learn not to get caught. Kira Pennant testified that she knew Jennifer Crumbley. She testified about the amount of time that Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley spent at the barn. She testified about all the money they spent at the barn. Why is this important, ladies and gentlemen? It's not to show you that somebody's a bad person for liking horses or spending a lot of money on horses. It isn't. And it's not to say that somebody should spend every waking hour that they're not at work at home with their teenager. That's not the purpose of this evidence. The purpose of this evidence is to show you what Jennifer Crumbley cared about the most and what she was doing and where she was when her son learned to be a killer. Kira will tell you that she referred to her son as an oopsie baby and said he was weird. She rarely saw him. And that even after the one friend was taken away abruptly with no notice, they still went to the barn even at night and left him by himself. Which is absolutely normal to leave teenagers at home by themselves. Unless that teenager is showing signs of mental crisis and that teenager has lost the only person in the world that he has. And then she told us that when she got the worksheet texted to her that day by Jennifer Crumbley, she was very concerned. She was alarmed. And in fact, she said, bring him to the barn. And you also saw from the text messages that Jennifer Crumbley said, he can't be alone. We know now that decision, that statement, she knew he couldn't be alone. She didn't decide to stay home with her son. That wasn't an option. She'd have to take him to the barn, where she herself testified he didn't want to go. You heard from two people who were at that meeting that day, Sean Hawkins and Nick Ejab. I'm going to tell you right now that this is not an argument that the school did everything they should have done. I'm not going to say that to you. I'm not going to tell you that I like everything they testified to. I'm not going to tell you that I think that it was okay they didn't look in the backpack. I don't think it was. But this is about Jennifer Crumbley's actions. And any attempt to make it about what these two individuals did or didn't do, like it or not, who did not have any of the information that was so jarring, it's about what she knew and what she didn't say. Sean Hawkins testified that he was concerned enough that he called Jennifer Crumbley. And her first response is, can you call his dad? Eventually, he emails her both copies of the worksheet, the original worksheet and the worksheet that was scribbled on. And she eventually comes to the school. But before she comes to the school, she texts her husband, emergency. Emergency. Along with, I'm very concerned. And James texts back, WTF. They're concerned. For the first time she testified ever, they're called to the school in the middle of the day, and they have that worksheet. Sean Hopkins is going to tell you that calling parents in the middle of the day and asking them to get a kid help is a pretty drastic action. And that he did in fact do that, and he gave them the list of places to call. He testified that when they entered the room, Jennifer Crumbley didn't greet her son. Jennifer Crumbley didn't hug her son. Jennifer Crumbley didn't engage with her son at all. In the entire 11 minutes she was there. And we know she wasn't going to be in that school very long because she'd already told her boss she'll be back by 12 or 12:30. Doesn't leave a lot of time for the meeting at the school. It's a 20-minute drive. Sean Hopkins will tell you that what he felt mostly in that room for the shooter was compassion. He didn't want him to be alone, and he felt really bad. And he also knew mom and dad decided, no, we can't take it. We have to go to work. They said that in front of their kid. He knows very well what they do. He knows his dad works for DoorDash. He knows his mom and her ability to work flexible hours. She worked at home. But they left. She did not hug him goodbye. She did not greet, touch, or even acknowledge him. And we know now from her testimony, we know why. She was mad. She was mad at him. She did not think that he should have done that, and she thought this was a discipline thing, and she was very angry. We heard from Nick Ejek. He's the dean of students. He also testified and corroborated what Sean Hopkins told you, which is that the meeting was called. They were concerned about a mental health issue. They told mom and dad he needs services. Here's a list of the services, and Jennifer Crumbley seemed irritated by it. In fact, when she walks into the room, she doesn't sit next to her son. She goes back here and stands. And that meeting ended with her saying, are we done here? They're consistent about that. Nick Ejek testified he didn't think there was any risk. I don't like what he said, and I knew he was going to say it. But it's not my job to put witnesses up here and only say things that I want them to say that helps my case. It's my job to present evidence that's the truth, because you have to know the truth. Sergeant Joseph Bryan is the first law enforcement that had contact with Jennifer Crumbley and her husband right after the shooting. And you saw the interview in the substation. And you saw the demeanor of the defendant. I want you to remember something. It wasn't even an hour. It was around an hour after the shooting took place. She's on her cell phone. She's looking to see if it's on the news, she said. We also know that there were deleted messages. We don't know when she deleted them, but we know there were messages deleted after the time of the shooting, from the time that the phones were seized later that night. He asked about the gun, and you heard what she said, what they both said. It was hidden. It was hidden. She read the text message. Oh, he said he loved me. And she reads a text message. And then she said, I texted him, I love you back. It was 49 minutes later that she texted, I love you back. And it was after she already...
Good chance the jury will be focusing on that 11-minute meeting at the school the day of the shooting. Let's take a break. Coming back for more out of that Michigan court. Jennifer Crumbley case continues.